make it look like Donald Trump a hero when he becomes president. So I'm concerned about how much of this is hyperbole. I think we do have to engage in diplomatic subjects with Russia, but we need to be cautious about what our relationship is with them. We need to be worried about a country that is hacking us and tried to disrupt our election.
Well, Mr. Trump, I think, has been pretty clear that he thinks it would serve the U.S. interests well as the globe, to be friendlier to Russia and to make them not an enemy. What concerns you?
I think that we've got to engage with foreign countries all around the world, especially superpowers like China and Russia. But the fact of the matter is we better be very cautious. Their intents are not always good. They threaten our democracy at times. We need to be concerned about a country that tried to disrupt our election. So rumor on the street is trying to help Donald Trump become president. I'm grateful that Senators McCain, Graham, Rubio are all concerned about this as well, and I think it's very important we study the issues here in a very bipartisan fashion and that we be very cautious in our diplomatic relationships with Russia. I do believe the State Department needs to engage with Russia. That's real world, but we better be cautious too.
Well, as you know, Senator McConnell, Majority Leader, has said that he doesn't think that there needs to be any sort of select committee to investigate this. So how will that bipartisan group move forward?
Well, I disagree. I think a select committee would have been better, but I've also heard him say that the Intelligence Committee has the background to investigate it. They understand it. I do believe that there are Republicans in both houses that want to work with Democrats to make sure there is a complete and thorough vetting of this issue. And I'm going to believe that there are leaders who are going to make sure that actually happens.
I want to ask you about, look, obviously manufacturing is very important in your home state of Michigan. What do you think of the proposed tariff? We hear that it could be a 5% tariff on imported goods that the Trump transition is now floating.
The first thing I thought when I heard it is Donald Trump understands the working men and women of my state, and he's delivering on what he talked about the entire election and why I was one of those Democrats that said that Donald Trump could win. I haven't seen the exact proposals. I think we need to be looking at these kinds of issues. Working men and women are tired of seeing their jobs shipped overseas. Business is not going to be happy. It's going to be very complicated. I'm going to study it thoroughly, but I'm not going to dismiss it out of pocket. And I think the fact that he's even making these proposals shows that he does understand the anxiety of working men and women in this country.
And so you think that it will help for factory workers, for the working class, you think that a 5% tariff is a good thing, or is it more complicated?
I think it's more complicated. Haven't even seen the proposal. I don't start commenting on things that I haven't seen specifically, but for the working men and women in my state who are tired of seeing their jobs shipped overseas and don't feel like they're playing on a level playing field, he's just saying that they're cheering. He's hearing us, our jobs. He understands. Let's protect them. That's what I thought when I heard it.
I want to also ask you about what's going on in Flint, Michigan, with obviously the toxic water crisis. 4 more people have been charged in this scandal, this crisis, but they're not big fish. Do you think that this goes far enough? Are you satisfied with the accountability for what's gone wrong in Flint?
Well, I've always said from the very beginning when it happened, it was about a year ago, that we needed to find out what happened, hold everybody accountable, and make sure it never happens again. The Attorney General, Bill Schuette, who I wish maybe had been there a little earlier, is continuing his investigation. He has made it clear that this is not the end of the investigation, that he is going to hold everybody accountable, and I think that it is very important that we hold people accountable at the federal, state, and local level, though I think the state and local level have many more people that were making decisions that led to what happened there.
But who do you think ultimately was accountable?
I think that everybody was accountable.
I mean, who do you think was ultimately responsible?
When we say that, look, the state very significantly turned an eye, and they've been trying to fix that. But the federal government was not government at every level. Federal, state, and local failed the people of Flint. And we've got to make sure that never happens again. That's why we've got to have legislation that if EPA learns that there's this kind of toxicity or danger in water or someplace else in a chemical, they need to warn the community. We need to learn from this and make sure it never happens again, Allison.
Do you think Governor Rick Snyder was responsible?
I think that the governor, look, I have a great deal of respect for the governor. I think he did not understand or surround himself with good people that were telling him what he needed to know. So ultimately, when you're CEO, the buck stops there. So Flint shouldn't have happened, and it happened on his watch.
So what does that mean for him? What should happen?
Well, he's not going to be able to run again. He's term limited. I think he's gone in and is trying to address the issues like people at the federal level are, but I think the state still has a lot more work to do in the city of Flint. And I'll tell you, one of the problems is that people don't trust government there. They don't trust their pipes. So even though there are chemicals that are in many houses beginning to clean up the water the way we saw in Washington, D.C. a number of years ago, the people of Flint are never going to believe the water is safe again, and probably won't until those pipes are replaced.
Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, always nice to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Good to see you. Happy holidays.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, so President-elect Trump and his family are learning lessons about politics and fundraising. The reports about a charity event that had Trump's sons facing serious questions about pay for play. Next.